I think about how hard it is to change, how hard it is to make progress. I think about how hard it is to, constantly growing. It is hard. Sometimes your mind is nagging at you, right? It's nagging at you all the time. Like, what's going on? Why can't I be better? I want to be better, but why am I not there yet? And then you see all these successful people around. Like, man, why are they so successful and not me? How did they change their life so drastically? How did they change so much? We don't know. And I don't want to go into the details of like how long it takes because it's different for everybody. So like for me, I remember when I was 17, man, I was a terrible kid. Like I was lost. I was kind of an idiot. I did a lot of things that weren't the greatest. I was hanging out with wrong friends in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And growing up, I mean, I was not very confident myself. And so I developed friendships around friends who felt the same way. And we were trying to do whatever we could to kind of feel better and, be more confident. And so I met all these friends at Sunday school, at this Vietnamese school, Catholic school on Sunday. So we spent like 2, 3 hours at a Catholic school. Who here ever been to Catholic school? Raise your hand if you've been to Catholic school. Yeah, some of you. Yeah, okay, yeah. We get it. Catholic school. I mean, we were supposed to be there to learn about God, maybe learn a little bit about some Vietnamese, but that didn't really happen. I went to a Vietnamese Catholic school, and instead of learning about God, we just hung out, played cards, sleep, and just did things you shouldn't be doing at a Catholic school, which is the weirdest thing. But these friends I have, man, they weren't the greatest influence. So we usually go, so after school, we go to my friend's house. His name is Tommy. And what we did was we would get drunk, we would drink. And I started this when I was about 15. My parents didn't know. They were working all the time. So at 17, we're constantly going out there, drinking. And you're like, how do you get the alcohol at that age? Well, the white people, the Americans, they never knew how we got alcohol. But I mean, most of our brothers or parent had like grocery stores. So everybody know that Asians like to run grocery stores and a bunch of other stuff. And so you ask a brother, you ask a friend's brother, and next thing you know, you have beer at your house. So we drank a lot of Heineken. And so getting access to alcohol was pretty easy. Let's just say that. Just ask and you'll get it. And of course, I wanted to fit in, so I just did what they did. Right? We all wanted to fit in at the time, so we just did what they did. So we drank and drank and drank, but no apparent reason, just to be dumb. And then next thing you know, you end up to a point where you either pass out or you yakking on the floor somewhere. And the only benefit that I found out of this was the only benefit out of all of this was I was able to develop a good. Hold on, let me fix that. Yeah, I was able to develop a tolerance to drinking. So by the time I turned 21, all the excitement of drinking had really much faded. Like, so when I turned 21, what I did was I went to the gas station. I bought myself a beer. I drank the beer. And then that was it. That was how I celebrated me turning 21 because I had drank so much since I was 15. I mean, I passed out, blacked out, walked into walls, tripped over things, tripped over people. I mean, I did a lot of things. Threw up in bushes many times, passed out on somebody's lawn. So we did that a lot, and I'm surprisingly, God bless, I did not drive drunk. I did not. Well, I've driven. I don't want to, put myself in the spot here. I have driven, but I don't do that anymore. But I have driven when I drank. So I'm sorry to say, if you guys have done that in the past, don't do it again. Please do not do that. Use Uber. Back then there was no Uber, and I was too scared to call my parents to come pick me up. So I didn't do that. But my alcoholic binge slowed down by the time I was 20. All right. So I didn't do that anymore. But imagine this. Like if I continue to spend more time with these friends, what do you guys think might happen? I'll probably become an alcoholic. I think I was for a period of time. If I didn't leave home in that same city I was in, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'll still be around those friends, still be around that environment, still be around those influence. And if I didn't leave, I wouldn't have changed the way I think. Honestly, I think I would still be a loser that amount to pretty much nothing because I would be spending most of my weekend drinking and partying, or maybe throughout the week I'll be drinking and doing drugs, and most of them still do that. So I will never be able to reach my fullest potential, right? What if, right? If I didn't change, what if I didn't change? So I want to share a little bit about how do you become a new person? How do you create real lasting change? We all want to change. Change is really hard, right? Like, man, you got to change. It sucks. Changing, every time you hear the word change, it's such a heavy weight when you hear it. It's like, man, I got to change. And when you want to change, there's this thing called willpower. And I talked about this in the past. Like, you're changing, and next thing you know, willpower kicked in. You don't have any more willpower. It's late at night. You just got off of work. You're tired. You're supposed to go to the gym. You didn't. Now there's a piece of candy on the table, or a piece of cake, or I don't know, some junk food that you had bought yesterday that you're not supposed to eat, and you decide to eat it anyway. Like, that's hard, right? You're trying to lose 15 pounds that you are holding, like, I don't know, from the years of drinking 15 years ago. I feel like I'm speaking about myself right now. Maybe some of it is true, right? Some of it is true. There was a time where I couldn't lose that subcutaneous fat that got stayed on from years of drinking and just consuming a lot of junk food and alcohol and a lot of Taco Bell. I live on those chalupa for a while, a lot of Taco Bells, and the $1 menu from I think it was chicken sandwich from McDonald's. Those things were good, but they were bad for you. But I ate a lot of that. And you give in, and willpower just doesn't seem to stick all the time. And making change doesn't happen instantly in life. So how do you build a new you? It makes you wonder, like, where do you start? How do you start becoming a new person? And most of you might try to change, but you tend to fall back, or you struggle with making something permanent. And I get it, because I struggle with it too. Most of us start with taking action, then we change some of our habits. Then maybe then some of us get more advanced, right? We change some of our belief system. And then we change a little bit of the stories that we tell ourselves. Then we start to change kind of our identity. And that seems to be a very long process, doesn't it? That seems like it's a 30-year process. And sometimes you meet people that are like 60, 70, and they have not changed one bit. And you're like, what is going on? Like, dude, you've been repeating the same problems over and over. How many marriages you've been to? I met a lot of guys, sorry, that, well off, great job, great investors, or a great businessman, and marriage suck and multiple marriages. And I'm like, dude, I don't think it's the women, bro. I think it's you. But that's hard for them to hear. So don't be that person. Don't be that person that gets stuck at 30 years from now and change haven't taken place, or it has not cemented into you. And it doesn't have to be that way. And change can be instant. Okay, you might be wondering, like, man, is this a scam? It's impossible to change that fast. Honestly, anything is possible if you believe in it. It's up to you, really. So I was watching Joe Dispenza yesterday, and there was these people. He had a lot of testimonial, transformation testimonial, and I was like, dude, this is insane. Like, we're talking about people curing cancer by believing that the healing can happen, and it all starts with the mind. And so it got me thinking, like, can we change instantly? And I believe you can. And it starts with shifting your core identity first. We always start with, oh, let's take an action. Let's do something. Let's cut something out. Let's do something else. Let's make some drastic change. But it doesn't stick because it doesn't start from the top, which is your core identity. You got to start shifting your core identity. And that's really what I want to talk about. At age 17, okay, after reading personal growth books, you know what? I was lucky. I was lucky because I was the type that just said yes to everything. That's kind of like my personal mentality. Like, I said yes to a lot of things. Sometimes it's bad, and sometimes majority of the time it's been good, but I say yes to a lot of things. And a friend of mine told me to go read some personal growth book. He was like, hey, read this book. It's great. So he told me to read this book. I was like, hey, it helped you pick up girls. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Go read this book. It helps you dress better. Go read this book. It helps you work out better. Go read this book. It'll help change your mindset. And I had a friend that was he's a little odd, right? You always got one of those odd friends that thought a little different from you. And I kind of lean into him because I was like, man, this is interesting. Once I started reading the books, it changed me. And so reading Think and Grow Rich, thinking how to be rich. So a lot of these books talked about identifying what you want. And so at 17 years old, I decided I wanted to become a new person because I got tired of being insecure. I got tired of being lack of confidence. I got tired of being broke. I got tired of being a lot of things. There was a lot of things I was tired of. You got to be frustrated. You got to be tired of it. If you're not frustrated or tired of where you are right now, you're not going to do anything. You don't want to change. And there's people who got through tired, frustration, anger, and you know what else? They stop doing anything. And so they sedate themselves with TV, with drinking, with so many things that drugs, partying. And so they never move past that stage. And so they stayed in that cycle of repetitive frustration, anger, tired of this life. And then they drink themselves and then it repeats itself. It goes away for a moment and it comes back. Know that cycle in you because you're doing something like that too, maybe. You don't know you're doing it. You don't know you're realizing it because you haven't been paying attention. When you stop drinking, when you stop doing drugs, when you stop getting stimulated, start watching shows, and you just start spending time thinking, you're going to start noticing certain things about you, and then you're going to start taking action against that. But for me, 17 years old, I'm reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, and I was like, man, let's think about your future. I'm like, okay, I don't want to live this life. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be insecure. I don't want to be unconfident in myself. So what I wrote down on a piece of paper, okay, on a spiral notebook, the old school spiral notebook that you had back then in grade school. I wrote down a sheet of paper. I wanted to be a businessman. I wanted to own my own business. I want to be a millionaire. That was the identity that I wanted. Where's your identity right now? Where is it coming from? So a lot of our identity, especially your identity, is created by your environment, your influences, your circumstances, your exposure, which then affect your behavior, like your action and your habits. So for me, for example, if I continue to identify as a weak, poor, and a failure immigrant kid from Vietnam, I could have continued to be that way throughout my life. And you know what? No confidence, couldn't stand up for myself, getting beat up. And then I'll never truly reach my fullest potential. And I'm still reaching my fullest potential now, but imagine I'll be stuck in that life forever. I could end up just being a loser and wasting my life with my high school buddies. Some of them aren't doing anything. And you know some of those people in your life right now. Bro, they ain't doing nothing. They're not showing up for nobody. They're not doing anything. Right? And that could have been my life. And it could have been your life too. The only difference is that you showed up here today. You made a different decision than most of the other people because you wanted something different. There'll be no legacy for you, no legacy for your children, no legacy for your family, no legacy for anybody. You can't provide for your parents. You can't provide for yourself. You can't help anybody. Being broke suck. I'm gonna be honest. Being broke suck. Because when I was broke, I was not able to help anybody. The only thing I was able to help was, man, when's the next meal for me? When can I pay my next bill? When can I get a next, Big Mac? When can I get a next Taco Bell? When can I get that chalupa? Because that's how it was. I was broke. And so you can't help anybody when you're broke. And so if I was stuck in that identity, and so I wrote down that day, 17, it was summertime. I had a lot of free time. Summer, I wasn't going to school. And I wrote down, I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to own my own business. And you know what? I didn't know how it's that going to be, but I told myself this is what I wanted. And so I started reading books on how to get rich. And I read books on how to improve my health. I read books on how to change my mindset. That was the shift, my identity shift. This is who I wanted to become. Right? How do we go about having that? Think about it for a moment. We always got to start with the end goal in mind. It's not about going to work out. You don't just work on your business for nothing. Your goals is to become a millionaire or to gain financial freedom or to become a person who can support your family, right? You want to be a provider, right? That's your identity. I want to be a provider. For me, that's my identity. I want to be a provider. And what does a person who can provide do? I mean, they got to have money. They know how to work. They got skills. They organize their thought. They organize their priorities. They organize their life. They pay attention to things. And of course, there's many things, right? To become a millionaire requires you to do certain things that a millionaire does. Meaning, don't waste money on silly things. Don't don't jump straight into your self-satisfaction right away. Delay that. Delay gratification is what keeps that's what makes people more successful, is because they know that if they continue to put effort here now, that it will pay off. But because a lot of people can't delay that gratification, they're like, they're gonna jump to this thing, and this thing don't work within a year. They jump to the next thing, they jump on and on and on and on and on. Dude, but when you stick to a game long enough, man, it's like if you guys ever play computer games, I mean, I'm a 90s kid. I played computer games. I played, Super Nintendo, N64, PS4, PS5, whatever. I played all the games, all right? And when you play games, the first day you play, you suck. Especially Counter-Strike. The first day you suck. And you got all these kids, man. They're like 12 years old. They've been playing for like 10 years straight. They're killing you. But you know that if you keep playing, you get better. And the same thing with every single skill that you develop. And to become a millionaire, you got to develop the skill that's required. So you don't just, and for example, you don't just exercise for fun. There's got to be a goal. It's to build a stronger body, right? You don't just stop drinking or stop doing drugs for no reason. You do it because you want to live longer. For me, I didn't work on myself for no reason. I wanted to become a millionaire. I worked on myself so I can become a millionaire. I wanted to be confident in who I am. I had to operate from that mindset, from that identity. So you guys might be wondering, like, how? And how do you do that? Like, yes, I'll get to the point of how, because we always want to know how, because there's a lot of like talk about changing your identity, adapting a new identity, shifting into a new identity. So how do you do it? Well, pretty simple. Number one, you got to revamp yourself. Let's go from 1.0 to 2.0 version of yourself. So what helped me out a lot was like, pick someone that you aspire to be. Think about who it is that you want to aspire to be. Who is going to be the influence in your life? It doesn't have to be direct contact. We have social media, we have YouTube, we have books. For me, I was following Tony Robbins, man. I was inspired by that man. That's my inspiration. I mean, there's a bunch of a lot of young dudes now that you can follow, but just pick one or two that you aspire to be and say, how are they living their life? What are they saying? What are they doing on a daily basis? Mirror or mimic their behavior. Did you know that how we learn, how animals learn is through mirroring? And go on Discovery Channel, go on YouTube, type in how baby monkeys learn how to climb, right? Or how to eat, how to interact. I mean, they're mimicking their parents. That's how children do the same. Like, dude, you learn the good and the bad from your parents. It's not you, right? You weren't born this way. Remember, when we were born as a baby, there was no limiting belief, no block, no doubt, no fear. Have you ever seen a child being fearful? Like, just think about a child, like a 1-year-old kid learning how to walk. It's the scariest thing. Just imagine you trying to walk on a tightrope and your legs like shaking and you're like shaking back and forth, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall off and kill myself. So that's essentially what a child is doing. Like, you don't know how to walk, and then you start standing up and start wobbling around, and there's like jagged edges around, there's a pointy table, and you bust your head on that. That sucks. But every day you got up and you learned how to walk. As a child, you had no fears. The fear came because somebody else put that into you. The doubt came because somebody else put that into you, or you saw that in them. You saw that in that behavior. You saw it in their action. You saw it in how they live their life. And so you mirror that. And so now you got to mirror something else. Mirror what you want to have, not mirror the things that you already have that you don't want. Another thing you can do, change your environment. That's what I did. I left. Man, God bless. I swear. Dude, like once I left, things changed for me. Like when I left my home, away from my mom and dad, I just moved out and I was like, man, I'm gonna just live on my own. The first excuse me, the first year was kind of tough, because there was no sense of order in my life. I was like, man, what am I gonna do? So I did whatever I wanted. 'Cause I was so, like, my parents were so strict. They were just like helicopters around me. They're like, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, don't do that. And I'm like, man, give me some freedom. And so I left. And then the first year was rough because I did whatever I wanted, party all the time, drink, hang out with friends, whatever. And then finally things settled. I got to get my life together. I moved to another city. So I moved out near the college I was going to OSU, and then I moved out to another city farther away to change that group of friends environment because I was like, man, I can't keep doing this because my grades was sucking. Like I'm not a 4.0 student here. So I'm telling you now, you don't have to be a 4.0 student to succeed. I had straight C's, a part of my for one of my GPA, like my report card. I had straight C's, and I was like, man, I can't believe this happened. I'm about to lose my scholarship. And so then I moved away, hopefully that would change. And I was like, it's a little bit better. Now I got straight B's and a couple A's. It was too late. And so I just kind of like, okay, school is not going to be the path for my success. And eventually, I moved to Monroe, Louisiana, and that's where I started my business. I met the right person. I met one person that, influenced me. I got away from the friends that didn't give me the good influence, bad influence, and that took me away from the drinking and the partying and the old lifestyle. What you can do in your life, if you can't move away, dude, clean your office, clean your house, rearrange it. For you as a person, get a new look clean, change the dress code, get a new closet, man, get rid of everything. Cut out old friends. That's changing your environment. Cut out old friends. It's hard, man. You got to do that though. And then find one new person to be with that aligns with your mindset. And today is amazing. There's this I know there's this dating app. God, I forgot the name. It was called I don't know, Coffee Meet Bagel. No, that's a dating app. No, it was called something else. But Bumble, I think it was Bumble, where you can meet more professional people. Focus on professionals. And so now you can actually go out and meet people that are professional. There's Meetup. I used to go to Meetup to meet other people who were into business, who into, developing themselves instead of hanging out with the people that were great. And of course, it's going to be hard to cut out old friends. I'm not telling you to do it right now, but stop hanging with them. Stop picking up the phone call. I'm like, hey, I'm busy. I'm working on something. And that's what you got to do. And that's about revamping who you are. If you really wanted to lose weight, you'll get rid of everything that creates the weight, the cake, the snack, the junk food, the sodas. It's that simple, but we don't do it. Why? Because we don't want to revamp it. You don't want to revamp yourself that badly. You don't want to change yourself. You don't want to get your new identity because you haven't accepted a new identity. Right now is who you do want to become. I want to be a six-pack millionaire. That'd be amazing. With kids, right? Six-pack millionaire with kids. And that's possible, right? You just got to make time for it. Number two, you got to release. You got to get rid of the old baggages you got. So imagine you're at the airport. Just think about this. So every time anyone ever traveled, I know you guys traveled, right? Everybody been on the airplane. So you go to the airport and you're getting ready to go through the TSA line, get through custom, trying to get to the plane, and you're struggling and you're battling. Why? You got too many baggage. Have you traveled with someone who carried like 10 baggages and it's just one person? Like, you know how painful that is? Like, dude, like you don't need to travel with that many bags. Like, you got to be efficient. And what do? You miss the flight. Things don't go well. You miss the flight. Now you can't take off. Your life is stuck because you can't take off because of all these heavy baggages. And I hate missing flights because that happened to me before, right before Vietnam, man. It was a terrible experience. Missed the flight. We were just like, screw it. We're not gonna go no more. But luckily we met someone, resource. Justin gave us the hookup through his connect, and we were able to get on the plane. But dude, your dreams, you're so close to taking off to the place of your dreams. But what's holding you back? Your baggage. All of these things that you've been carrying throughout your life. You accumulate all these bags that's holding you down that you got to carry with you. That you got to carry with you. You never letting it go. Carrying it everywhere you go. You take it with you. Then you bring it into your relationship. Just imagine two people. Now you got double the bags. Like, remember when you and your wife finally move in together? If you guys are married, like, dude, like you got a nice, beautiful home. Next thing you know, you got extra boxes that you never open, and they're just sitting there. Burn those boxes. Get rid of them. Who cares what's in there? Burn them. Throw them away. Trash them. Get rid of the old stuff. Your past. You're doubling up useless past stuff. And this goes in your life as well. You got to start getting awareness. Do daily reflection. Write down why you have these doubts. Where are the doubts coming from? Why do you think this way? Most of our progress is blocked by fear and self-doubt. That's a limiting belief. The simple one is that I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, I don't have the skill, things not going to work out, I'm a failure, so this might fail. Like those are just the limiting belief. Those are the beliefs that you built up because somebody said that to you somewhere in time in your life in the past. And so we have to let that go. Honestly, go get some therapy, work through it with the mission of releasing and moving forward. I go to therapy, I'll be honest. It took me a long time to figure it out. I went to workshops, coaching, therapy. I did all kind of stuff. And if you're not spending time to do it, you're not going to move past it. It's not about bringing up the past. Dude, who cares about the past? It's in the past. It's about saying, okay, this happened. All right, what's the step moving forward? Here's the tool to move forward. How to move forward. That's what we focus on, but you got to identify. Got to get some awareness. The last thing is repetition. Live in this new identity daily through the action that you take, and it's repetition. You don't just exercise once a day and it's one and done. Right? Who here exercise one time and then you're like, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. No, none of us, right? We're definitely never going to make it through life successfully. We did that. You need to show yourself evidence. You need to show your new identity evidence every single day for the rest of your life. This is a repetitive thing. You got to show every day, repetitively. Every day, you got to show yourself the evidence that this is the new you, your new identity for the rest of your life. Things that you do, such as meditation. Man, and like for me, like this meditation that I always do is like, I always repeat to myself, man, I am capable. In my mind, my mission is, I am this capable person. I am this person that's loved. I am worthy. I am successful. In my mind when I'm doing this meditation, and then I see myself in the future of what my life looked like. And I did that when I started doing that at 17. And I didn't stop doing that till I was like 25, 26. And now I'm like doing that again heavily. And I'm always constantly reminding myself to visualize, meditate visually and see it. And spending just 10 minutes a day, morning, nighttime, whatever, spend time to do it. Why? Because you're reminding yourself the evidence every day that this is the new you, new version of yourself, your new core identity. I read every day. I spend time reading. I spend time listening to positive mindset. When I drive, I listen to that. I don't listen to music. I listen to that. Most of the time, 90% of the time, I listen to positive mindset. The only time I don't listen to that is when my kids in the car and they're like, I want to listen to my own music. I'm like, sure. They don't like listening to my positive mindset stuff because like it's all repeat. And they're like, I don't want to listen to this. Hopefully it's sinking into their mind though. But they're young, so it might not affect them right now. They'll know later on. We exercise daily. And exercise means you don't have to lift heavy weights. What I do, I exercise and listen to a positive mindset. At the same time, I stack it. I listen to scriptures. I listen to sermons. I listen to positive mindset. I listen to, growth mindset. I listen to business books. I listen to things that every day I give myself evidence. So give yourself evidence. What are some of the things you're doing every day? I spend intentional time with my kids is evidence that I'm a good father. Well, how can you be a good father if you don't spend intentional time with your kids? How can you be a good businessman if you're not studying business? How can you be good at Amazon if you're not doing Amazon? If you're not spending that 30 minutes to an hour a day researching, Product research. How can you get better at product research? How can you get better at finding opportunity if you're not showing evidence of that? That's what you got to do. Repeat yourself. I am a successful businessman. This is what I do. Lastly, I journal. The I am journal. I am this person. Here's why. I am this person. Here is why. Sometimes we don't write down why. Right? I am healthy because I exercise and I don't eat a lot of Taco Bell. I stopped eating Taco Bell. I'm not saying Taco Bell is bad. Hopefully they don't, come and flag me, but but I don't eat junk food. I'm healthy. I'm a healthy person. I will live long because I'm not drinking heavily. Or I'm not drinking at all. I am making progress because I showed up today. Right? It's that simple. Why? You got to write down the why. I am this person. Just fill it out. I am blank person. Here's why. And you do that every day, you start seeing progress. Building a new you start with your core identity. You got to remember that. It starts from the top and then it works its way down. It makes it more instant for you to change. It makes it easier for you to change because it focuses on who you want to become. It will require consistent effort, reflection, and growth. It's a journey of you becoming more aligned with the best version of yourself, your 2.0, right? You got to move from your 1.0 to the 2.0. And you got to take it one step at a time every day. Stay focused on the mission. And you got to know what your mission is. Your mission is to become that person. And you got to start showing evidence so that you can believe in yourself. And when you start believing in yourself, change will happen. Change will happen much easier. That's all I got for you guys today. I just want to share that with you.